So, students, in the previous session, we were discussing about the functions, and in the last code, I was explaining about non-local variables. Okay, so a non-local variable has a reference to its parent class, and I have told that I'm available with the outer method. Okay, and here there is a variable called as message, and I have assigned a value local to it. Then nested method I have created, that is inner. Okay, and in this nested method I have used a non-local variable, non-local message. Okay, and then I have assigned message equal to non-local, assigned a value to this particular variable. Okay, and then printed the value of this variable. Here I called my inner method. Okay, so here is the definition of the inner method. I called inner method, and at this particular place I printed the message of um, outer. Okay, outer message. Okay, and here I called my outer method. Okay, what happened actually here is you got the result as non-local for both inner and outer. So I told that if you make a variable non-local, it behaves as a reference to the outer function only, because non-local variables are used in nested functions. In general, we don't see such declaration of the variables. We have seen two declarations: either it is a local, either it is a global. However, if we are available with the nested methods, then we used to have a non-local variable. Okay, so the value assigned to this non-local variable inside your nested method will possess the same value for above also. Now, initially your message was local, you assigned this variable message as local, but inside your inner method you have assigned its value as non-local. Okay, and when I am accessing both inner and outer methods, I got the value as non-local. Okay, so here the kind of result which you are getting is somehow what tricky, in the sense that how nested functions are used and how variables are declared. And I then used one more code in which I created a method a, and then inside I created a variable x equal to 5. Then I have a nested method, that is b, and same variable x I declared here as non-local, and I reassigned a value x equal to 10. Okay, and then I printed x here, called my method b, then I printed x here, called method a, and what I got is my value is not 10. And if you don't use this as a non-local variable, if you are using it as a simple variable, for example here x equal to 5 and here x equal to 10. Okay, so if I do print here x, it will give me the value 10, and if I print here x outside this particular block of b, then it will give me the value 5. Okay, now the value of x does not change, but if I do make this variable as non-local, okay, then it will be not local for b, then it will be for this particular block it will be behaving as a global variable for this particular segment only. Okay, because it's not local here. Okay, so the value of whatever the value which you will be assigning here to the variable will be now the new value in case of non-local. In the next example, if I would say again that I defined a variable method a, I gave name, a variable name, then I again defined a method b, I changed the name. Okay, and if I do print it here inside b, then this answer will be printed, and if I do print it outside the b, okay, outside the b, then this answer will be printed. So it's a case of local variables. Here name is a local variable for a. Okay, and here name is a local variable for b. So if you are printing the name inside b, this will be printed, and if you are printing name outside b, then this will be printed. The point is clear. Okay, here also I am available with the same concept. If I just change the term, that is non-local name. Okay, now if I do change the name variable which was initially this. Okay, so my result will be for both the cases is this answer. If I do print the name inside B also, then also I'm going to get the same result. And if I do print name outside B also, I'm going to have this result only because of non-local thing. All right. So here there are certain same kind of examples. Okay, and you can use any nested methods for performing the non-local operations. For example, if I again take some example dfa, okay, and I declare a variable x equal to 10, okay, and then I declare dfb, and inside that I take non-local x, and if I would say x equal to 15, okay, and if I take dfc, and inside that I am taking non-local x again, and I'm assigning the value x equal to 20. See, this is how I perform the nesting. Method A, then there is a method B inside it, and then there is a method C inside it, and I'm using same variable x. And in B I made it non-local, and in C also I made it non-local. Okay, and if I do print x, yeah. Anyone having doubt? Please let me know. Yeah, ask the doubt.
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So this is print x. I'm printing the value of x in the block C, in the method C. Okay, fine, done. So here I'm calling C. Let us call. Then here I'm printing x again for B. Okay, because this is under the B block. This is under B. So now I am printing x here in your B block, and outside I'm calling B. Okay, and then after it I'm printing x again. Okay, and ending the block A also, and I'm calling A. You can see that a variable 10 is declared inside A. Then I made it non-local, assigned 15. I created one more nested function C, declared a variable non-local x again, assigned a value 20. Now I'm printing here the value of x. Okay, so the point is here I'm calling C, then printing x here in B, then here I'm calling B. Okay, and then printing again the value of x here, and then here I'm calling A. Let me run this code and check what the result is: 20, 20, 20. Okay, so what happened here is initially you declared a 10, doesn't matter. Then you made it non local. You declared the value x equal to 15. Okay. Then again you created a nested method. You declared a variable x equal to 20. So, it will be going to take the last initialization. It will be going to take your last initialization. Here also x is non-local, and it is 20, so it made 15 also 20, it made 10 also 20. Okay, so all the results are 20. Okay, so last initialization of the non-local variable, because non-local x means it is the abstract, it has been referring to this class B, and here also non-local x means it is referring to this class, parent class. Okay, so that's the case. However, the value assigned here is 20, so that's why all value has been replaced, and this is the final result you are getting. So just to create some complex thing, that means nested functions, so I used that particular code. In this next code I defined a two variable x equal to 5, y equal to 10. Okay, then nested method I created B. Here I said z equal to 15. I printed the value of z. Okay, so it will be 15. Here I called this method B, so it will result into 15. And here I printed x and y. It will print 5 and 10. Okay, and here I'm calling A. So it's just a simple how you create a method and how you print the values which are present inside the method. So it's 15, 5 and 10. There is no a concept of any non-local or somehow what I've used here. Just simple, I've defined method and printed the value. These are local variables. X and y are the local variables for A. Okay, and z is a local variable for b. Now if you want to have something change in this particular code, okay, what change? Let me put it here, because the question would be, sir, if x and y are local for a, okay, we understood, but since x and y are declared outside b, so are they global for b? Because x and y are declared outside b. Okay, so are they behaving as a global variable for b? And if we do like this, z equal to 15, if I say now the new value of z equal to z plus x plus y, that means I want to add x and y also to the z, because I believe right now that x and y are outside b. That means are they local? Are they global for b? Is it the case? And then I'm printing the value of z. Let's see. Run the code. Now you're getting the result as 30. 30 means this is 15z and this is 5 and 10. So the point is clear. That means x and y are behaving as a global for b. So you can use x and y inside b. This is possible. Okay. So yeah, you can create such kind of code also. In the next example, if I say a method A having variable x equal to 5, y equal to 10, I have defined a nested method B and made a variable non-local x. Okay, so x is initially 5. Now in B, I made it as non-local x. And then what I'm doing, z equal to x plus 15. Okay, but I haven't assigned any value here to the x. Just I made it as non-local x. And I'm using z equal to x plus 15 and I'm printing z here, printing the value of z. Okay, and then I call this method. Okay, so obviously this block will gonna run because I have called this method, and then I am printing x and y. Since I am using non-local x and the value of x is 5 and I haven't assigned anything here, I haven't given any value to x here, then it will take its own actual value, that is 5. So here the result will be 5 plus 15 as 20. Result will be 20. Okay, initial value it will take. All right, whether you are non-local or whatsoever, but it will take the same value. If you would have assigned something else here, then it will take that particular value. Okay, and remaining all is same in this code. Okay, global variable, global variable, for example, sir, the point is I'm again performing nesting of the methods. I'm using this variable method outer function, in which I'm taking a variable num equal to 20. Okay, I'm creating inner function in which I am declaring this variable itself as global num. Previously I was using non-local, now I'm using global num, and I'm saying num equal to 25. Okay, and if I'm printing print before calling the inner function num, that means what is the value of num before accessing this inner function. And then here I have accessed the inner function, call the inner function, then I'm printing the value of inner function. What is the value of num here? And then I'm calling the outer function, and then I'm printing what is the value of num here. So before calling the inner function num, what will be the value? What will be the value here? I'm not calling it, just I have defined this function. If you have defined this function, that's okay, unless and until you don't trigger it, you don't call it, then it will remain as it is, because it's just a definition. Okay, so before calling the inner function, the value of num is 20, because it has been assigned value 20. When I call this inner function, now it will understand, okay, num is a global variable and now its value is 25. So after calling the inner function, num, its value is still 20. You what you did, global, you made num global, num is 25. You made, okay, num is 25. You made num 25. And after calling inner function also, num is 20. Num is 20. When all this program is over, when all this program is over, you called outer function and printed the value of num here. Now it is 25. This is the difference between non-local and a global variable. See, global variable is not a reference of outer function, but non-local is a reference to the outer function, parent function. So if you have made here non-local num and assigned n equal to num equal to 25, you know that here the answer would have been 25 in this particular line. But if you have declared this variable num as a global, and if you are printing num here, it's not taking num equal to 25. No, it is taking 20. After calling inner function also, it is taking 20. Yeah. But the point is, if you print num here inside inner function, then it will be 25. But outside inner function, calling after inner function, but inside outer function. See, where you are printing this value of num inside outer, but when you are accessing outer function, that means after all these things has been done, here you are accessing outer function. Now the value of num has been changed. Now it is 25. So the value here, if you want to print, if I would say inside inner, okay, inside inner, so it will be num. If I'm saying, it will be what was assigned 25, it should have been 25. Before calling num, it will be 20. And here I'm calling num, inner function. Before calling inner function, it is 20. Here I'm calling inner function. Okay, and after its call, then also the value is 20. Then I called outer function, and here I check. So let me run this code again. Let me Here it is. Before calling, inner function, it is 20. Okay, inside inner, obviously you have changed the value num equal to 25, so obviously it will print 25. After calling inner function, it is still 20. Okay, and when all these things are over, when I call outer function, okay, and then print the value of num, then it is 25. Now it will take the last this value, global value. Okay, so this is the difference between local variable, global variable, and non-local variable. So if I do speak you in terms of statement and give the definition, that doesn't make any sense. The point is, the which makes sense is a practical example. Okay, so you need to deal it accordingly. Okay, so here I created the same code, just used, instead of global, I used non-local. So the point is, here the value will be changed. Here, before calling inner function, it will be 20, obviously. Once you call inner, then it will become 25, and outside also it will become 25. It will remain 25 now, because this is non-local. Okay, so just to clarify the difference between global and a non-local, I use this examples. Fine. So till here we have discussed various codes for your functions. Okay, and in function, we as I told, that there are a few important concepts, that is arcs, quarks, lambda function, and here related to some variable, local, global, and non-local, uh, your types of your variable. Okay, nested functions we have also seen here. Nested only non-local is used. Okay, so this is and giving arguments to the function, that means loading your function. Okay, so these are some of the concepts which are used in for functions in Python. Now the next topic is your classes and the objects. Okay, so now it's your turn. Any of the student can let me know, have you studied classes, objects, and what do you know about it? Classes and the objects. Anyone? Anyone can let me know what do you mean by classes and objects.
Methods and attributes are present in that, sir, in a
At,
class.
in the class, what is present? Attributes, methods and attributes, functions and
Yes, sir.
attributes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So why are these functions and attributes are present in the class? What actually a class is? What actually a class is? You are also taking the class now, right now. You are in the class now, right? At this particular moment, you are in a class. So who you are? Are you method or are you attribute? Who are you? This is also virtual class
Attributes,
going
sir.
on. Okay, you are an attribute. Okay. Any other student want to say something? You told, sir, methods are there, attributes are there. So what actually an attribute? That means you said, sir, I am we are attributes. So attributes are okay. Attributes are a real world entity, I hope. Okay, because you are having some property, you are having some behavior. Okay, so uh, this if I would say that you are saying attribute or object, isn't it object? The better name, I should use a better name, object, because attributes, object have their attributes, no, its properties, behavior, characteristics, that's what they are having. So the point here is, let me explain. Class, see, class is an infrastructure. You guys are sitting in the class which is having all the infrastructure available, and you are utilizing those resources, and you are studying here in the class. So class is actually an infrastructure, or in a simple terms and a technical way, I would say a class is a blueprint. Okay. And if you want to deal with the real world problems, now programming languages are having the concepts of classes and the objects. Okay. Because there are and this is a object oriented programming language technique. It's a paradigm, it's an approach, object oriented programming, where objects objects are real world entities, as you told, because you are having some characteristics, behavior, you are taking class right now, you can ask me question, I am also being an object here, I can also ask the question, I am teaching you right now. And if you and me are not present in this class, then it is an empty class, then there is no significance of this class. Currently I'm taking a virtual class for you all. Okay, you all are present here, and because you guys are present, I am being present here, so activities are happening on. If no one is present, then there will be no activity happening. Okay, so though it will be a class, this Google Meet link, that will be give you a meeting link, and this will be a class, but if no one is present, then there is nothing is going to happen. Okay, so that will be an empty class. So class is certainly, it's just a blueprint. Okay. However, if you guys are present inside the class, then only class will get memory. If you are not present, there will be no memory for the class. So you are an object of this class. Okay, and you said functions. So if I need to perform any task, objects have the rights. Objects are having full power to access the methods of the class. Okay, and once an object is being declared for a class, then only class is going to get the memory. Okay, so here I am using a simple class structure for you in how to make a classes in Python. So I'm using class keyword. My class. I use class my class x equal to 10. I declared a variable x equal to 10 inside the class. Okay, and in the next class itself, I created another, that is class name equal to, I gave some name, and n1 equal to name. This is how I declare object of this particular class. N1 is the object of this class, and whenever you do create an object of this class, it will be created by the class name itself. Name is this class only with a parenthesis. The reason is this is a constructor of the class, a member function, or it is having the same name as that of the class. Okay, so whenever you create an object of the class, you need to use this terminology. So a class is just a blueprint, it's an just setup. And once the object is created, now whatever be the operations I need to perform according to the class, I can do with this object. So I am accessing this variable n1 dot name 1, and it will going to print me the value. Okay, now you said na attributes, so this is an attributes. And name 1, I can use name 2, name 3, I can give x y z, whatever I can give. With the help of the object, I can access all the values of this particular class attributes. If you are having methods also, you can also access methods with the object. So object is a powerful thing. Object is something which is, it's called as an entity. It has attributes, properties, characteristics, whatever you can say, you can. So this is a very simple class structure. Okay, and simple program for class, creating a class, declaring a class, and you creating an object also, and accessing the value. Okay, so in this particular class here, I created the method p1 equal to my class. Okay, and then p1 dot x, printing the value of x, it's written. Okay, now for example, let's create some more example based upon the classes. I'm taking class dog, name 1 equal to dog 1, name 2 equal to dog 2. That means I've created two variables inside the class. Df function. Df function means, df function, I am defining a function inside a class. Okay, with a parameter self. See, self is something which is referring, self is referring to the object of this particular class, this variable self. You will ask me, sir, what is this self? Self is an this variable is referring to the object of this particular class. Okay, and later on we will be declaring the object. Here I am writing print hello self dot name 1, self dot name 2. Listen carefully because this is very much important. Okay, here we are preparing the fundamentals of classes and objects. So I am saying hello self dot name 1, self dot name 2. Okay, done. But it's just a simple structure. Nothing will happen unless and until you don't do this task. D equal to dog. Here you have created object of the class dog. After creating object, now you can print d dot name 1, d dot name 2. That means if you say d dot name 1, print d dot name 1. What is name 1? So name 1 is dog 1. D dot name 2, sir, it is dog 2. It will print. Okay, and then if you say d dot function, I've told now, only with the dot operator you can access its class attributes, class variables. You can access class method also just only by using dot operator. If I'm saying d dot function func, so this function will be called, this function will be called, and self dot name one. Okay, see, just check the twist what happened. Here I'm accessing the variable with d dot name one, d dot name 2. Here I am accessing a variable self dot name 1, self dot name 2, and I have already told you that self is an reference to the object of the class or whatever your object is doing. Self dot d dot name 1, d dot name 2, d dot, this can be done with the self also, and self did that. Self dot name 1, it will print hello dog 1, hello dog 2. Okay, so self can perform the operation. That's why here I have used self, this variable. Okay, now do you have any doubt? Please let me know in this code, then I will proceed ahead with the further codes for the classes and the objects. Any doubt in this code? This is a sample code for classes and the objects. Any doubt? Please let me know. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, create a class for the addition. So I'm using class add x equal to 5, y equal to 10. Then I'm defining a method inside a class. Df addition self. And then I'm using addition self dot x plus self dot y. Okay. You very well know. Here also you did the same task. Self dot name and name one, name two. Here also you're doing the same thing. Self dot x plus self dot y. That means whatever be the value of x and y, that will be added here and addition will be printed. And here I created a method of this class add, and here I'm accessing a dot addition. So if I do here a equal to add, object will be created and a dot addition object will be calling this method. Obviously it's going to take 5 and 10 values here, it will going to add it and it will going to print it. That's it. Addition is 15. Very simple code to perform the addition. In a similar way, if I want to perform multiple operations, arithmetic, so I created a class arithmetic. Okay, and I defined a variable x equal to 5 and y equal to 7. Okay, and then I created multiple methods. Okay, def addition self addition self x plus self y. Then I wrote df subtraction self dot x minus self dot y. Then df multiplication, again the same thing. Division, okay, self x divided by self y. Okay, and then I created an object of this class, and just I called all these methods: d dot addition, d dot subtraction, d dot multiplication, d dot division. Okay, and it's not mandatory that you are going to create separate methods for it. You can create a single method also for the this particular arithmetic. You can say class arithmetic. Okay, and then you can have x equal to what, you can say 5, y equal to 7, and then you can define df operate self. Okay, and then you can say add a print add like this add, and you can say self dot x plus self dot y. Here you can do print sub, and then you can say self dot x minus self dot y. Okay, and so on. Multiplication, subtraction you can do. Okay, that's it. And here you can create a method of this class. Okay, so if I would say a equal to arithmetic, if I can say like this, then if I say a dot operate, okay, let's see what happens. If I run this code, you are getting the result as 12 and 2. So it's not mandatory that you are going to create different definitions. I just, for a sample example I gave, you can do the task in one method also. Okay, so add is 12 and subtraction is minus 2. In the next example, in the next example, let us consider another code. I have created a class dog again, and with the attribute, first one is the attribute is mammal, second attribute is dog. Okay, declared two variables, mammal and the dog. Okay, then I created a method function fun inside this class. Okay, it gave a self parameter, and I'm saying self dot atr attribute 1, self dot attribute 2. Okay, and then I'm creating instance of this class. So okay, so object can be called as an object, instance, whatever you can say, you can. Okay, so I'm creating instance of this class Roger equal to dog. That means this is the category. Okay, so an object, and then with the help of this particular category I'm accessing Roger dot attribute 1. Okay, so attribute 1, what is the value of attribute 1? The value of attribute 1 is mammal. Okay, so it's gonna print me mammal here, and then I'm accessing the function by it Roger dot function. So it's going to give me the value of this attribute 1 and this attribute 2. I am a mammal and all this. Okay, and it's not been the case that you can create a single object for a class. No, you can create multiple objects for the classes also. But that example I will let you explain ahead. There is some important functions which I cover it first. Init method. Init, initialization, or I would say initialization. Did anyone know about init method in classes? What this function do and why it is important in classes? Have you seen this method init? Till now we have studied simple class structure, preparing functions, declaring attributes and accessing the values, and all that we have seen. Init method, anyone knows about init? Have you studied, have you seen this init method in the classes? Underscore underscore init underscore underscore.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what does it do, Ramya?
Constructors.
Constructor. Init is a constructor. See, constructor is a class name itself, no? So init is how init is said to be as a constructor. Okay, yeah, whatever you know, please tell me what you studied
Use
in
it
it.
to assign values.
It assign values. Okay, all right. See, if you do talk about init, whenever a class, whenever you're creating a class, init method is something which you should always create. This method should always been created along with the classes. It's not mandatory. We haven't created init method here in the above examples. We didn't. But it's suggested that init method should always be there. All the examples above, the classes and objects, there is simplest form. Okay, they are very simple, and we are not using it in a life applications. Okay, but if you want to use the exact correct concept of classes and objects, the correct meaning of classes and objects, we need to use this built-in method init function in classes. Okay, so all classes have a function in it. All class, whatever the class you are going to create, it's having init method, which is always executed when the class is being created. So one said, sir, it is in constructor. That is the definition of constructor itself. Whenever an object of a class is created, its constructor is invoked. Okay, so here we can say that, okay, it's kind of constructor only. Okay, init method is kind of a constructor only. Whenever you create an object, it will be invoked, and whatever the values which you are giving in the init method, whatever the variables you are assigning in the init method, they will get the value. Okay, if you are not using init method, without init method also, I created an object of this class. Okay, just with the class name. This is also a constructor. With the class name itself, I have created the object. And then there are other functions which I exist. Okay, but init method, it's not like that. Object dot underscore underscore, it's not requirement. Whenever you create an object, automatically init will be executing. There is no technology like this I'm going to use. Roger dot underscore underscore init underscore underscore. There is no requirement of, because init is something will going to execute automatically. Okay, so here is a code for it. Class person, class person, def init self. See, self is something which will always be there. It is a reference to the object of the class. Then I'm using name and the age, two variables. These are extra. These are actually the variables, name and the age. Then I'm saying self dot name equal to name and self dot age equal to age. Okay, and here I'm creating the object of the class. P1 equal to person, name of the person, and age of the person. So what will happen? Name will go to the name, age will go to the age, and here they will be assigned to the name and the age. Okay, and then afterwards you can print it. P1 dot name and P2 P1 dot age. So what happened here? See, there is no requirement of accessing this method in it. Automatically, when you have created P1, these values, that's why it's called as initialization. I told you it's initialization. So here these values will be passed to the name and the age. Name and the age will be assigned to self dot name and self dot age. Then only your object, when you are, see, self is a reference now, then only your object, p1 dot name and p1 dot age, can be working upon. It can work. Okay, now if I use the same code, if I use the same code and if I use pass, okay, just use it and make it as a comment, make this also a comment, okay, and just use pass. And now run the code. Error. Okay, person object has no attribute name. Now it will get confused. Now it doesn't have any variable name. What happened? Unless and until you don't give a reference self or dot name, it will not understand that whether name is an attribute or not. Okay, that's why it gave error. If name would have been declared above this name equal to uh, Ramya and age equal to 19. Okay, and if I'm going to run this, let me run this code. Now Ramya and 19. It doesn't make any sense. You have given these two variables, then now it's printing Ramya and 19. Okay, but because the point is, it doesn't understood what is this name and the age. It understood this thing. Okay, but if you are using self dot name, self dot age, then it will give it a value. These two. Okay. In the next example, in the next example, same thing happened. Only I just printed in a same line. Nirmal and this I just printed in a same line. Okay, printed like p1 dot name comma p1 dot age. Okay, code is all same. Now, if you think, sir, we don't want to print it outside, sir. So just in a simple terms, create a class, define init method, name age, okay, and then I'm using self dot name, self dot age, and I'm printing here itself. I don't want object to print it. Just print it here. So here object is created and name and the age is assigned here. Okay, and this is what you are going to take the output. Instead of outside, just I'm printing inside only, inside init method. Okay, now next. If you say, sir, we want to we want to ask the value. We want to ask the value from the user, then sir, we want to print it. Okay, you can do that. So here I created a class person, then defining in itself. Okay, I'm not giving any variables here. Name and age I'm not going to give. Okay, and here I'm asking from the user perspective. Name equal to input, enter your name, and then I'm taking age in int input, enter your age. Okay, and then I'm saying name equal to self dot name, self dot age equal to age. Okay, and here just I just created p1 equal to person, p1 equal to person. Okay, and p1 is now able to access p1 dot name and p1 dot age. Why? Because of this stuff, self, and because of this init. Okay, now there is we just bring one more twist here. Just bring one more twist. If I am having any other method apart from init, if I would say self data, okay, df data, and then I'm having self, would it be successful for you to print name and age? Because sir, if I am having init, when I am creating object of this class, automatically things will happen. This will be called, and this will be going to work upon everything. But if I am going to use df data self, then creating an object of the class, and then I'm going to print the name and age, will it be successful? Will it be successful? I don't think so. It gave me an error. It the person now it don't know who is name. For that, what to be done? I need to I need to access this data. Okay, then it will be like this: p1 dot data. Okay, then if I again run this code, okay, age, name Ramya, okay, age 19, okay, now Ramya 19. So the difference is init and the general method is, for general method you need to access it, and for init no need to access it. It will automatically work. All right. Now next code. This is all same. I've already explained. Okay. Now if you don't give the variables here, for example, I again created a class person. I defined init method, init self, and haven't gave name and the age variable inside it. I haven't gave name and the age. Okay. So what will happen? What will happen? And here I am saying self dot name equal to this and self dot age equal to this, and here I am creating an object and I am giving the value of my name and this to but whom this value will be copied, whom? Here there are no variables available, only self is available, and then you are accessing these two, name and age. Obviously it will give you error. That means init is taking one positional argument, but three were given. That means one positional argument is already available, and you are expecting two more. That means three. So three is not going to work. You need to give the variables here, then only it will perform the task, else not. Okay, so it's an error. In the next example, again I'm using init method and any other method also in a combination. So here just I created class person. Here is your class person. Okay, then I have defined init method self name, name, one variable I took name. Okay, and then I'm saying self dot name equal to name. That means whatever the name will come from the object declaration, it will be assigned to the name, whatever be coming. Okay, then I'm using another method, some sample method. Say hi. Say hi. So dfs say underscore hi self. Okay, here I'm see self is something something which is it's not specific to this init. You can use self with any general method also, and you will say, sir, self, can't we change name, sir? Self, can't we make it, sir, selfie? Can we make it selfie? Okay, you make it selfie. Okay, instead of self, just make it selfie. So in it, instead of self, I'm using selfie, and here also. Okay, and then I'm calling. I created this method, this constructor method, and I'm created an object, and I'm passing the value my name here. My name will come inside this variable name, and it will be assigned to this. Okay, and then here I did created another method, so I'm calling this method p dot say hi. Okay, and just accessing this name, printing it, hello, my name is. So let me run this code, it will work. It doesn't matter whether you are using self or whether you are using selfie. You can use anything. It's not no, notation, no. Just but self something. That means self means why it is been written self, I already told. It is referring to the object of that particular class. Now the question comes, sir, here you wrote selfie dot name equal to name. If I use self here, will it print the name? Will it print the name? Now do a twist. Let me run this code again. So it worked. Whether it is selfie dot name equal to name, whether it is a self dot name equal to name, whatever, it worked here also. Okay, so I changed these parameters, and you would be understanding. So selfie dot name, this has been for this variable, for this argument, name has been assigned. But here you have taken another argument self, and by this self you are accessing the name. Still also it gave the correct answer, sir. Yes, it will. Give you the correct answer. Okay, so not mandatory self, not mandatory selfie in both. One can be selfie, one can be self. All is working, and this is practical example for you all. Okay, next. Here I am taking class add. Okay, addition. I created init method in which I am taking one parameter num1. Self is as usual, and I am saying self dot num1 equal to num1. Okay, then I am using df number self num2. Okay, and here I am performing self dot num2 equal to num2, and here I am saying print num1 plus num2, self num1 plus num2. So what will happen when I will create object of this class? 5 will be assigned to num1. Okay, done. Here the value of num1 will be 5. Okay, then what will happen with this case? I need to separately access this method number, and I need to give a value 10 to it. So here number 2 will be handling the value 10, and here I am performing num1 plus number 2. Okay, so it will be giving you answer as 15. 5 plus 10 is 15. Okay, so with this process also you can perform the task, one variable from self, one variable from any other, and you can perform the addition. Next, now we are going to perform the code for class declaration. Class, we are having variables inside the methods, and we are using constructors and everything. So let us consider again a class example where I created a class dog, and I declared a variable animal equal to dog. Okay, and defined your init method where I'm taking breed and the color. Okay, breed and the color I'm taking. Now self dot breed equal to breed, obviously whatever be the value which will come into the breed when your object of this class dog will be created, that will be assigned to the breed, and next will be assigned to the color. Okay, because they are under init method. Now what next I'm doing? I'm using the objects. Okay, Roger, pug and the brown. So pug will come into the breed, color will go to the brown. Okay, it will be present here. Next, I've created another object of the class. I already told you it's not mandatory that one class, one object. No, it's not a policy. A class can have any number of objects. So I'm created another object that is Buzo. Okay, and gave here this is your breed and this is your color. I gave it here. So again, it will be using this stuff. Init can be used by multiple objects. Okay, it's going to use this thing. Okay, then what's happening? Here I am printing. Okay, Roger details of the Rogers. So Roger dot animal. Okay, animal I've already having a variable. It's a dog. Okay, and remaining details are breed and the color for the Roger. That will be pug and your brown. And the next Buzo details again animal. It's a dog, and then again it's a breed for it. That's your bulldog and the black. Okay, so this is how we can create multiple objects for the class. Okay, and we can separately access the details by these objects. Okay, and here we did for both the dogs. Okay, so this is a simple code. Next, here also I created two objects n1 and n2 for the class name. So my class is class name df init self f name l name. Okay, then I'm saying self dot f name equal to f name, self dot l name equal to l name. That means whatever be the names here are name, and the first name and the last names are, they will be assigned here, f name and the l name. Okay, and they will be assigned here, and next I'm going to print both of them. So I first use my names and then I use abc exclusive just as a simple names. Okay, and it's going to print me all these stuffs. All right, so it's just a simple example. Now again, let us declare a class. So class dog is here. I have assigned animal equal to dog, one variable. Then I used initialization and took only one parameter, breed, and I assigned breed value here. Okay, that's it. Then I created another method, that is set color method, and then assigned one parameter color to it. Okay, so self dot color equal to color. Okay, and then I created one more method, that is a get color. Okay, and assigned self dot color, return self dot color. Now it is return self dot color, because value of color is already set. I'm just going to return it, or either I can print it, whatever I can, I will do it. So here there are three methods. Init will obviously, when you create the object of this class, init will be assigned. So here Roger is the object of the class. I am taking pug, this value. So breed, this will be the breed, it will come to the breed. Okay, done, it will go into the breed. Next is the set color. Okay, so I need to access this method and I need to give some color to it. So here I'm accessing this method, Roger dot set color, I'm giving brown to it. Okay, so brown will be assigned to this color. And then next, what I'm going to do, I need to access this method also, get color, to print the color of the dog. Okay, so here I'm using print Roger dot get color. That's it. Roger dot get color. Print. If I would have been used print self dot color, then no need to print it here. But if I'm using a return statement here, so that's why it's mandatory for you to print Roger dot get color. It will going to print you the brown. Okay, so these are some codes related to the init method in the class. Okay, there are certain other methods also which are used in the classes, predefined methods in the classes. Okay, and the next method, predefined method, is a str method, string method. Okay, so what is this string methods used to do? It controls what should be written when the class object is represented as a string. What should be returned next when your class object, when the class object is represented as a string value. Okay, and str, this str, if str function is not set, that the string representation of the object is returned. How? Let's see a code, and then we will understand what it's been returning, string value for the object. I created a class person. Again, same thing. I defined init method in which I'm taking the name and the age. So I'm taking name and the age here. Okay, done. Then I'm defining str self, and I'm returning self name and the self age here. I'm returning these two. So here, if I'm returning, I'm using f in quote self name, and then here I'm using parenthesis, rounded brackets, to print age, to print age. And no method I called here, no method I called here. I just created object of the class p1 equal to person Nirmal and 30. I just created an object of this class, and here I use print p1. That's it. That means object is now possessing these values. These values. Object is possessing. It printed. Okay, if I do run this code, let's see what it will printing. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so what this str did? What is str did? As per the definition, it control what should be returned when the class object is represented as a string. Here, class object is represented as a string. Okay, I am available with the name, that is a string. Okay, and I assigned this value to the name and all this, and then I'm saying df str, and I'm printing self dot name. It will print the string value, and self dot age, it will print the age value. This is what str it's going to do, and no need to access this str also. Automatically it will print. Okay, here also I use the same thing. If I'm available with only the name and the surname, here I am available with the numeric value also, age, numeric value. Okay, so if I'm available with my name and the surname, so here it is. Again, I initialized a method, the name surname. Okay, it will come from here, and then dfstr, self name and the self surname. Self name and the self surname. Okay, it's going to print me this. Print me this. Okay, so I haven't accessed any method to print. Automatically it printed. It would also be printed here inside init also. If I use print self.name self.surname, it will print it. But here, as per the concept str string object, here object I am printing here object. Understand? Print p1. I am printing value of object. I am not saying p1 dot name. I am not saying p1 dot surname. I am printing object value itself. Print p1. I haven't done this task in my previous any of the code. I haven't done this task. That printing only the object value. No, I haven't done it. Object, I told, no, object can access attributes, object can access functions. But here what you are doing, you're printing the value of object itself. And how? Because here you defined that object is what str said. It controls what should be returned when the class object is represented at a string, and the string representation of the object is returned. Okay, here the string representation I am having this a name age, and here I am having a name self name surname or whatever I am having. So I'm returning here as in, for the object values. Okay, so now the next case is, if you will say, sir, we are if we are not having any string values, will string still work for us? For example, if I'm having I use 30, 10, 20. If I use these two, still it will work for us. And I'm taking names or name, whatever variable doesn't count anything. Okay, let me run this code. You understand? 1020 is printed for me. Okay, so the str, it's going to print me the object values. It doesn't matter whether you are having a string value only, whether you are having your integer value, it's going to print you. And if I don't use this f, sir, don't use, then also it will print you. Then it will print only this self name and surname. So print this f is stands for the return. I need to return these values. That's why I have used f here. Okay, so now if I run, now it will return 1020. And if you don't, because the people will ask, sir, why you have used f here? Else it will return only this something which is written inside the quotations. And unless if you don't use f, it will not return you the value which are present inside them. Okay, so f is something which I need to use. This is the notation, standard notation for using the strings. Okay, so you got the answer as 10 and 20. So what things we learned here is, if I want to print the value of the object, I can use string. Okay, in a string I can give whatever the value which I have assigned, initialized using initializations. I can give inside to the str. I can give it to inside the str. Okay, and here I can print it. Okay, so very important concept, str and init are already predefined methods present in your classes and the objects. Okay, now the next case is, if I don't use init method. Now, if you say, sir, no need to use init method, can we perform all the tasks by using str only? Can we do this by str? So what I did, class person df str, I took name and the surname here self, and I assigned the value name surname here, and I'm returning this. And then I called p1 equal to person name and all this thing. Without init you can't do this task. Initialization, first initialization is required. Self doesn't means initialization. Okay, so definitely it gave me error. Person takes no arguments, and still you are going to give the arguments. If it would have been init, then it will be running fine. Without init, it will not run. It will give you error. Okay, so this is one another use case. So we are just trying to change the concept, which can give us error, which is correct code. Okay, so we're just experimenting with all these str, init, and other methods used in the classes. Okay, this code I've already explained you. So the next point is, all right, I've already explained that you are creating a class, defining init, defining methods, and printing all these. Okay, self a parameter. I already told that it is very much important. It is a reference of the current instance of the class. This parameter, it's a acting reference. So if you are using self dot, that means object is doing this task because it's a reference to it. It can be used to access the variables that belongs to that particular class. Okay, if you don't have the name self, then we need to then you can call it whatever you can like. It's not mandatory. I have used self also, I have used selfie also. It's up to you. Whatever you want to use, you can. Okay, so here is another example for the class person. I defined in init method and using my silly object. Okay, instead of self, I've used my silly object, and I've used this example previously also by selfie. And I'm taking name and the age as two arguments. I'm giving my silly object dot name equal to name and all this age equal to age. Okay, and I'm using my function abc. So it's not mandatory you take self here and self here also. You can take separately. We have already done this code and printed the value. Okay, it worked perfectly fine. No worries. If you want to delete, now the cases. Sir, I have declared a variable and I've assigned a value to it. What? P1 dot age equal to 40. What is the possibility I can delete it? Just use a DL. See, DL is a evergreen. You have used delete in list also. Okay, so you are using delete here also in case of classes. Delete P1 dot age. So this age will be deleted. Age will be deleted. But if you are using DL P1, your object is deleted. Okay, here there will be no object. So you can delete object also. You can delete this attribute also. This particular value also. See, pass. Pass is also something which has been applicable everywhere. If also we have seen pass. In for loop also we have seen pass. In while loop also we have seen pass. In functions also we have used pass, and in classes also we can use pass. Okay, so I'm using class person pass. So yeah, it will work fine. I don't have any body inside the class. Okay, now again a code for the classes. If I need to calculate the sum of the first n numbers, whatever you can take, whatever you can say. Okay, so here I'm defining class number, init self num. I'm going to take the number from the object declaration. Okay, and then I need to perform the summation. For example, if the value of number is 10, so I need to take the calculation from 1 till 10, all the numbers. Okay, so here I declared another method, that is df summation. Sum equal to 0 variable I declared again. And for I in range 1 to self dot num plus 1. This code I have already explained in the previous classes also. If you want to calculate the sum of the numbers, first 10 numbers, or first any numbers, n numbers, you need to perform n plus 1. Because the reason is, if I'm using range, it will exclude the outer one. Okay, and then just update sum equal to sum plus I. That's it. Okay, so I'm using it from 1 to whatever be the numbers, and going to print the sum. If I'm going to enter the numbers 10, I got the result as 55. This we have seen in the previous examples also while we are working with the functions. Here also df is a function. Only the fact is I used inside the class. That's it. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate the odd even, if you want to perform the odd even, so again I'm going to take the number in the init. Okay, here the value will be assigned. After that, I am going to create a method odd even, and then what I can do, self dot num percentage 2 equal to 0. See, you can't ignore self. It will be there for you. If you use num percentage 2, it will not work. You can't ignore this reference. Okay, so here with a reference variable I'm accessing, I'm going to have a value num, and here self dot num is required, then only you can perform the task. Remaining all is same. Self dot num percentage to equal to 0, print number is even, else number is odd. This is what you can do. Okay, all is same. All right, so just use self with your variables, and here I'm and from the user I'm going to take the value. Okay, so here x equal to int input, enter a number, and then I gave that particular number into odd even when I created the object. Here object of this class odd even is created. Okay, and here I gave this value x which I asked from the user, and then access the method a dot odd even. Okay, so here is my result, enter a number 11 and the number is odd. All right, now till here we have studied the basic concepts of classes and the objects. We understood the methods init, str. We have used them in various combinations of other methods also. Okay, and the point is clear that, sir, this is how we can declare the class, this is how we can use these methods, and we can get the values. So that's okay. Now, but class is not limited to just creating its body and all this stuff. There are many other things also present in the class. Now my first question is, do you understood this concept? Anyone is having doubt in classes and the objects till further what we have studied? Any doubt? Any doubt here? Classes and objects, how we have performed these codes? Please let me know. Anyone is having doubt?
No doubt, sir.
If you are having doubt, you are you can ask me, interrupt me anytime. You can unmute yourself. I already told you. Okay, so if you guys are not having any doubt, so let us proceed
Sir,
ahead. Yeah, please ask, please.
sir, self is a keyword or
See,
it is just
it's
the
just a reference. It's an
class of
instance
it?
of the object. No, it's see, if it would have been keyword, na, I would have used self always with the same name. But I did explain in the code itself that it's not mandatory to use self. You can use selfie, self, my silly object. You can use anything. It's not a keyword. But it's an attribute of these methods in it. It's an attribute. Okay, and whenever I am using as an attribute of this method, it will refer as an, if it will refer to the instance of the class. And what is the instance of the class? Object. It will refer to it. Okay, so it's not a keyword. You can change it. You can change it.
Okay, sir.
And we did. Okay, yeah, any other doubt, please let me know. Okay, so the next concept, very important, is inheritance. Inheritance, because we are studying right now object oriented programming, and classes and objects are the part of object oriented program, because oops concepts started with classes and objects only. Okay, so there is one important property in oops, in classes and objects, is inheritance. Now can anyone let me know, have you done the codes on inheritance? Do you have any idea about inheritance? What is it and how we perform inheritance?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Yes. Yes, please let me know.
We can use the methods and attributes present in one class. We can use it in another class by inheritance.
Okay, you can inherit the property of one class by another class. That is the inheritance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So, as we have seen in the functions, sir, we are bundling up all the statements inside under one name, because the reason is I can have a reusability, because the point is, sir, I can perform reusability. Okay, here also the same concept happen. If I am already available a class, and if I want to reuse its features, Okay, I want to reuse its features. Then the point is, I can create another class which will be inheriting the property of that particular class. Then I can use its attributes. Okay, so inheritance is a real world concept. First of all, I already told oops is a real world concept. Object oriented programming, classes and objects are part of real world. Okay, so inheritance provides you reusability of the code. Okay, and we did not have to write the same code again and again as we did in the methods, as we did in the function. It just allows us to add more features to a class without modifying that particular class. For example, I don't want to modify that particular class, I will create another class and I will access the property of the base class, then I will do some changes in the new class. This is what I can do. That means it is transitive in nature. Transitive means if the class B inherits the properties of class A, then all the subclass of B will automatically inherit from class A automatically. Okay, so if B is accessing something from A, then whatever be the subclasses of B, they all are having the reach to access the properties of class A. So it is transitive in nature. Inheritance is simple, it is understandable. Okay, no need to do some extra effort, no need to do some complex coding. It's quite easy. Let us understand. Okay, let us understand what's happening. We are just creating a code here, and let's see class person. Okay, class person, I assigned a value y equal to 10 to it. Okay, one more thing I just want to tell you that I have already shared this code book with all. Are you guys doing code book? Are you working with the code book or not? This code book, it's already mailed to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now the next is class person, y equal to 10. Okay, constructor in itself name and identity. Okay, name and identity. So from the object, when I will going to create the object of this class, I'm going to assign the name and the identity. Okay, done. Then I'm using another method, display self name and identity. That means I'm going to print it. Fine, done. And then here is my emp. This is the object person, that is name and the identity. It will assign here name and the identity. Okay, and here I'm going to print it. When I'm just going to call this method emp.display, it will print it. Done. So this is just a simple class structure which we have seen above. What changes we can do? What changes we can do ahead? I'm using class emp person. Class emp person. So this is a person class, and I am inheriting the property of person class, and this is how you can do it in class in C++ programming. So sorry, C++ not in C. In C++ programming, we are having the various access modifiers: public, private, protected. Here there is no such kind of terminology. Here if you say class emp person, that means you are creating a new class emp which is accessing the properties of person. Okay, and here I created another method, df print self. Df print self and print emp class called. Emp class called. And then here you can see I created object of this emp class, and I gave name and the identity. Okay, and I'm printing print emp details dot y. See y is declared inside person, not in emp. Still, if you are inheriting the property of person, that means I am having complete control over person. From emp you can access, you can print the value of y. It printed. You can use display method. Okay, here is the display method, it is present in person, but from here emp object can access display also, and emp can print its own. This is its own method. So it's printing that thing also. So 10, that means here is the result. Emp dot data is its result is 10. Then emp display, that means these value. Okay, and then emp class called, that means this particular method it exists. And once you created this emp object, these two values are assigned to init, which was of person class. And initially person is having my name and 102. After doing this task, now you can check the output is Nirmal and 103 changed. Okay, so to be very simple, let us do a code. If I say class C1, if I say class C1 and I'm defining def underscore underscore init, and then you are using underscore underscore. Okay, just take self here and take one variable num. Okay, and you say self dot num equal to num. Okay, done. Then what you are going to do, class C2 C1, what I did, I am inheriting the property of C1. I created another class C2 which will inherit the property of C1. And I said what, I am using a method def display. I'm using this method and I'm using self here. Self. And I'm saying self dot num print self dot num. Okay, what will happen? Let me create an object of the class. Object I'm not going to create for C1. I'm just only going to create for the C2. So object for C2, let us say C. C equal to C2, and I'm giving an value to the num. Value to the num. For example, it is 10. Okay, so this init method, which is actually present in C1, but here you are declaring an object of C2. Then also this init can be covered C2. And here if I would say C dot display, C dot display, let's see what happens. We run this code, you got the result as 10. Because what happened? This value 10 will be supplied to num. Okay, it will be assigned to num. Then what happened? You access this method which is present inside C2 itself, and it printed the num. Okay, and if I do copy this code and just use it here and create another class, class C3, take C2, take C2 here, class C3, I'm using C2 here. That means it is accessing the property of C2, and C2 is accessing the property of C1. That means indirectly, C3 is accessing the property of C1. Okay, and if I can say like this, def display, and just use self. Okay, and I declare a variable x equal to 10. Okay, and I would say x equal to x plus self dot num, and I can print x here, and then you can declare c equal to c3, declare object of it, c equal to c3. So 10 will be assigned to num. Okay, here 10 will be assigned to num. And then what will happen, I'm using c dot display. So c dot display, c dot display is present inside it also, display is present inside this also. So the point is, I'm not going to confuse, let us don't confuse the interpreter whether this display or this display needs to be accessed. So let us use display one. Don't because here the name is also display. Here if you name the display, I will do it practically. Put the same name for both the classes, objects, classes, or what to say, it's an method. Okay, we'll do that. We'll check in this classes and objects how it's gonna work. Just confusing. Let's see. But right now I'm putting different name. This is for the display and this is for display one. Let's see what happens. Okay, and let me run this code. 20. Now the result is 20. Why? Because num, it's going to take you 10. Okay, and here display, I'm using x equal to 10. So 10 plus a 10, the result is 20. It printed me 20. But what will happen if I don't take display one? Instead I'm going to take display only. Let me run this code. It will give error. C3 object has not okay, let me give me error here. Let me use it. It also gave me 20 again. So it accessed its own method 20. So it haven't confused with this thing. C dot display. However, C has a rights to access display of C2 also. If I use C dot display one, what will happen? Let's see. 20 and 10. That means it has a rights to access this method also. However, if I use same to same this method also and this method also are display, that means C has a rights to access this also, but it gave the priority to its own method display present in C3. Okay, and then it gave me the result as 20. Okay, so it's up to you how much twist you can do. You can experiment from your side. It don't bother about the errors in the code. This is coding. Okay, and we should not be afraid of the errors which are going to come in the code. So you can do anything. You learn the concepts are, it's very simple to perform inheritance. I can take this is a structure of inheritance. Okay, so just write C2 is inheriting from C1, C3 is inheriting from C2, so indirectly C3 is inheriting from C1 also. It is transitive in nature. So C3 is not the powerful class. It can take its features also, it can take its feature also, it can develop its features also, and this is how it gave me the result. Okay, now next, class employee is taking the features from the person. Okay, I have defined a method print inside it. It's printing mp class called, and you can take the data from the user perspective also. How? I'm taking x equal to enter your name, z equal to enter your id, and then I'm going giving both of it to emp x and z here when I'm declaring the object of the class. Emp x and z. Previously, in the previous example, I gave here I gave here the details. But here in this case, you can ask from the user also. Give the details, and you can give it. Also possible. Okay, and then you can access the methods as simple you were doing. Emp display and emp print. Okay. If I don't want to do anything, that means I can use pass. Here in this example, I have declared a class A, defining int and giving num variable to it. Okay, I'm using another method print in it and printing the value of num. Okay, done. I'm using class B, which is accessing the property of class A, but I don't want to do anything here. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So you know what happened here in class B? Here in class B, I am don't want to perform anything, so I just use pass, and still I created object of this class B, and I gave value 10. 10 will be supplied here, okay, and it will be printed here next. B dot print. Okay, so it's up to you. All right. How many types of inheritance do you know? Because inheritance itself is a definition that you can inherit the property of the classes. There is a parent class, there is a child class. We have seen the examples. How many types of inheritance are there?
Five, sir.
Okay, five. What are these? First one is
Hierarchical
first
inheritance.
one. First one. Go with the simple thing. Simple inheritance. In simple inheritance, what is there? There is a base class. There is a child class. That means child class is inheriting the property from the base class. Done. One. Okay. Then what is the second inheritance?
Multiple.
Okay, multiple inheritance. What happens in multiple inheritance?
There is one base class and more children classes.
There is one base class
Child
and
classes.
there are having they are having one base class and then
More than one child class.
okay, more than one child class, that is multiple inheritance. Okay. Then what is next?
Multi-level
Okay, multi-level.
inheritance.
What happens in multi-level?
There is one base class,
Okay.
one child class, and
Okay.
a middle intermediate class in between.
Intermediate. So here in the example which I have discussed above, A, B, and C. What kind of inheritance is this? What kind of inheritance is this? Multiple, multi-level. I'm having a base class C1. I'm accessing the property of C1 by C2. Then I'm accessing the property of C2 by C3. It is multi-level or not?
Multi-levels.
All right. And then what is next? Next category of inheritance?
Hybrid.
Okay, hybrid. What we do in the hybrid? What happens in hybrid?
Two or more inheritances
Okay,
patterns we can
okay,
see in a hybrid inheritance.
okay. Two or more kind of inheritance is applicable in the hybrid. Okay. And what is hierarchical? What is hierarchical? What is hierarchical inheritance?
There is one parent class and multiple child
Okay,
class.
one parent class and multiple child class. It's a hierarchy. So, if it is a hierarchy, then what is multiple inheritance? I guess did we miss something? Did we missed something in multiple inheritance? You
Yes.
told that there is one child, one base class, and there are multiple child class. That is multiple inheritance. Then why you're saying this hierarchical is also same?
I might have been confused between them.
Okay, you are confused. Okay, anyone else can let me know what is hierarchical inheritance? Hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchy. How you can define a hierarchy? That means we might be having one class, and then we are having a child class, and then further we are having more child classes from these respective
Equal
classes.
number of base classes and child
Yeah,
classes, sir.
that means we are having in
Equal number of base classes and child classes.
equal number of base classes and the child classes. Okay. See, in case of hierarchy, we are having one base class and multiple derived classes. But these derived classes are also having several other classes inherited from the derived classes, several other classes also which has been derived from them. So one is there is one base class, and there are child class. From these child class also there are other several child classes also created. But this is not happening in the multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance is the level 1 only of this hierarchy. That means I am having a class, and I have derived various other classes from this parent class. That is multiple. But hierarchy is something beyond multiple inheritance. Furthermore, multiple inheritance. Then furthermore, at every layer there is multiple inheritance. Okay, so that is a hierarchy. All right. Well, let us proceed ahead with the next set of code. So I have explained A, B. All right. All right. So here is again a sample code, because this is what we are going to see in the inheritance. So here I am having a class person. Okay. I'm accessing, okay, a class objects property. Okay. I need to declare a class object also. So, okay, whatever be the thing is, let me explain you. So here is a class person which is accessing the property of class object. I have defined init method in this class person, defined get method in this class person. I'm going to give the name here, and in get name I'm also giving the name here. It will going to return you print the name. That means returning, and in the print statement I will print it. Okay, and I'm using one more method, is employee self return false if check if the person is an employee or not. So three functions I'm using here in the class, three functions in the using here for the class person. Person is inheriting the property from object. Okay, so all these three I'm using here. Then I'm using one more class employee, and employee is inheriting the property from the person. Employee is taking the details from the person. Okay, so person is having all these three, and employee is, because it's accessing inheriting the features from the person. Here I am also using one method, is employee self return true. And let's see what's happening here. I created object of person, object of this class, not the derived class. I created object of the base class person, and I gave a value person 1. Okay, here is a person 1. The name will be given to the person 1. Okay, here it is. And if I'm going to access get name, if I'm going to access get name, emp dot get name, if I'm going to access, it will return the name. It will going to return the name of the person, that is person 1. Person 1 is the name which has been present here in the name. It will going to return it. It will going to print it. And I'm also accessing this is employee method, also accessing this employee method. Okay, so it will going to print you false, because I've already assigned the value false here. In this person I have used false, print false. Then I created object of employee. In the next case, I have created an object of employee, and I gave person 2. So here person 2 will come to init class of person. See, employee is accessing the property of person, so it's well known that I need not have to write init method for employee. It's not mandatory. Employee can use init method of person, it can, and it is using it. So the name person 2 will be assigned here. Okay, and in the next case I'm going to print it get a name. So get a name is also, get a name method is also present in person, not in employee. So I have a rights to access the get a name method from person. I'm doing it. Okay, so it's printing get a name, and then I'm available with one method in the employee, that is employee. I'm going to return true for it. So here it will return, if I do access this method, it will return me a boolean value that is true. I've already mentioned here true. Okay, so same structure. It's not at all complicated. Depends upon you how you are going to code for the inheritance. Multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, hybrid. It depends upon you. Okay. So, all right, let's consider the next example. Again, it's a simple example itself. That means I created a class person with f name and the l name. I gave these two arguments to the first name and the last name. Okay, and then I am going to print. I created another method that is print name, and I'm printing it. And I created the object of this person and gave these two values and printed it. Not a big deal. Okay, so fine. Here, let us consider another example. Let us consider another example for your using multiple inheritance. I'm having a base class b1. Okay, and I am having init method in it, and I'm assigning geek1 value to the base class, and I'm printing base 1. Okay, then I'm creating base 2, another class, which is again accessing the object class. So here also this base 1, this is accessing object 1 or object class. Base 2 is also accessing object class. So these two are inheriting the same class, that is object. So it is multiple inheritance. You already told me multiple inheritance means one base class and multiple child classes. Okay, so base 1 is also class, base 2 is also class, accessing the property of object, and they are having their own init methods. Init for base 1, init for base 2. This is the value geek 1 for it, this is the value geek 2 for it, and then this is a derived class. I took some more twist. Derived class is accessing both base 1 and the base 2. So what kind of inheritance is this? Base
I
derived
think
class is accessing base 1 and base 2 both. What is this? Multiple. That means this derived class is accessing the property of base 1 and base 2. This is multiple inheritance. Is this multiple inheritance or not? I am available with two classes. I am accessing the features of both the classes in one class derived. Is it multiple inheritance or not? Multiple. Name itself saying na multiply inheriting the property of different classes under one name. Okay, so this is the example of multiple inheritance. And again, I have defined init method of itself. And here I am calling the constructors of base classes both base 1 and base 2. That means base 1 dot init, base 2 dot init. I am accessing the constructor of these two both. Okay, so here str1 and here is the value str2. i could have I could have created an object of this derived class, and I can access the value of geek 1 and geek 2. I could have. Okay, but the point is what I'm doing here. I'm calling this base 1 and the base 2 classes. I'm calling the constructor of base 1 and the base 2 classes. Okay, and then I created my own method, print strings. Okay, and here I printed self.str1 and self.str2. Object is created for the derived, and I just only accessed this method, nothing else I did. There is a change in the code. Okay, here this step is important. I called the constructors of base 1 and the base 2. If you want to check it out again, let's see. I am having class A, okay, and in this class, I'm going to perform df init. Okay, I'm having self, and I'm saying self. One parameter I can take here, that is your x. I'm saying self dot x equal to x. Just say like this: self dot x equal to x. Done. Then I'm having class B, and I'm taking def underscore underscore init, when I'm taking self dot y, I'm taking like this: self dot y equal to y. This is what I'm taking. Then I'm taking class C. Class C, which is actually inheriting the property of A and B. Again, I created init method of it. Def underscore underscore init. And I'm taking self self comma z. And what I'm going to do is self comma z. I'm not going to give the value for z here, shall I? If I don't give the value of z, let it be. Don't give it anything. Self, just going to take self. And result is z equal to, I'm going to say self dot x plus self dot y, and I'm going to print it. Print z. Okay, and here I'm creating sample object of class C. C1 equal to capital C. Just creating an object of it. Okay, nothing else. I'm not going to do anything. Let me run this code. It gave error. Okay, forcefully I created this error. Forcefully I created. It gave me an error. Where I'm lagging, where I'm missing. Check the above code. What happened? Here, base 1 init, their self, and base 2 init, you have called in this init method of derived. So use the same step, because it doesn't know what is x and what is y. While creating object, you just simply create c1 equal to c, but I don't know what is x and what is y. I don't know. Okay, so for that reason, let me copy this. Okay, copy this and put it here. Put it here. Base 1. It's not base 1, it is A. And this is B. This is A and this is B. Now let's see what happens. It gave me another error. It told me that missing one positional argument X. There is one positional argument which is missing here. So what should be done next? One positional argument is missing.
Self comma x.
Okay, comma X. And then here, comma Y. Is it? Now if you run this code again, now it is saying name X is not defined. Now what should be done here? Name X is not defined. If you're saying X should be here, it's saying not defined. Then what should be done? What should be done? Here we haven't used comma X. Here we just only use, we just called the constructors for it. Here you can check, just only constructors are called. But the point happened, what the point happened here with the self is, here I gave self dot x from his side. Either the thing is, should I update this code self dot x equal to, then I should used here as I did above. I should have been given the value here like 15, and I should not use y here, and then I'm giving the value as 25 here, and then now this self will gonna work for you, x and y. Is it or not? Here you gave x as a parameter, you gave y as a parameter, you gave these two parameters here. Okay, so that's why it demanded, sir, you are only available with the self, you are calling this, what should be done with that particular thing? So you, now you got the result as 40, because self dot x is 15 and self dot y is 25, and here we perform the addition of it, z equal to this, and I printed z. If you would have been used here x, if you have used here x, And if you have used here as y, so obviously it will demand what is x and what is y. What is x and what is y? It will ask you, and it will say, if it will going to ask, then you haven't created the object of a and b, which will be giving the value of x and y. You haven't done it. The value of x and y. How it will going to give you? It will give you error, obviously. Then you will say, sir, object of a, na? You're going to say object of a. So, for example, object of a is capital A, and you gave the value as 10 here, and you'll say the object of b, that is capital B, you gave 15 here. Okay, now let me run this code. Name x is still not defined. It is saying, sir, still I am not getting the value of x. Still I am not getting the value of x here. If you say a10, let us make a1. A10, that means 10 will be assigned here. 10 will be assigned here, and you will say self x dot x equal to x. And if I say b1 equal to b15, 15 will be assigned here, and it will be like self dot y equal to y. It will be assigned. You are inheriting the property of it. Okay, and you are accessing these methods, a dot in itself and x self dot y here inside c. You are inheriting, you're accessing these two. Let me run this code again. Let's check what the error came. Name x is not defined. Still it said x is not defined here. It's not defined. So what should be done? Whether you are going to write self dot x here or self dot y here? Is that the case? So you're trying to do what kind of, whatever be the changes. See, object does not have attribute c x. So here, if you are accessing this init methods, it is referring to according to c, not according to a and b. It is referring according to c, and in c you haven't defined x and y. So why it should give you x and y? It will obviously give you error. Every time it will give you error. So the point is, if you don't use, if I use here x, if I use here okay, because the point is, if I use x and y here, if it to declare two variables here, and if I say x, and then if I say here y, okay, and if I run this code, now the error comes. Two positional arguments x and y both are missing. I need to give it here some values, 12 and 34, for example. If I gave it here, if I run this code, now the result is 46. 12 and 34, now the result is 46. And why? It gave the result for this thing, not for these a and b. It doesn't give the result for this. It gave the result for this thing only. 12 and 34 added and gave me the result. Now what will happen with this? This is unnecessary call. Unnecessary calling. Okay, so the point is, you can follow up with the recording, whatever the changes I did. I'm deleting all this. Self here also kept it as self. Okay, don't use here x, don't use here y. Okay, and just this is 10, this is 15. Okay, and you are using it both of them here, so just remove it. Don't use this thing also, 1234. Just simple call the method. Okay, and the result is 25. This is what happened above also, and I'm using here also. Okay, so with the help of, and if you don't use, sir, if I don't call this a and b here, then also I'm getting error. Error, yes, you will. C object has no attribute x. So x can only come from a, and y can only come from b. Now you run the code, you're getting the answer as 25. So by accessing self from here, I'm going to get the value of x. By accessing self from here, I'm going to get the value of y. And then I'm going to add self x plus self y, printing z. That's the decision we are going to make. All right, so we'll follow up the things in the next class with this inheritance. Okay, we'll quickly complete the inheritance, then we'll proceed ahead with the iterators. Iterators in your Python. Okay, then the next, I guess, we are going to finish it quickly, just inheritance, and then we'll proceed ahead with the iterators. Meanwhile, if you are having any doubt, you can ask to me.